Hello, and welcome to RPA Developer Production Ready Essentials training of UiPath Academy. In this video, we'll cover working with lists, which are the first data type covered in our current data manipulation lesson. Lists are largely used in programming, and RPA makes no exception. Anytime usernames, employee numbers, invoice numbers, and other elements need to be captured, stored, or processed, lists can be suitable. We'll start this demo by creating two list variables that contain city names, and we'll proceed by merging the variables together to create a new list of strings. Once we've finished that, we'll format all the city names to the proper case, namely capital letters followed by lowercase ones. In the end, we'll print the content to the output panel to check if the operations were performed as expected. Okay, let's start. We'll create a new process. We can name it City List Demo and also add a brief description such as Demo for working with lists. Next, let's add a sequence to the designer panel and use an annotation to mention the purpose of the workflow. Prints an ordered list containing the city names from two initial lists of city names. Okay, now one of our variables is meant to store the names of some cities in Spain, and the other one contains United Kingdom city names. We'll create the two variables with appropriate names, Spain cities and UK cities. Then we need to choose the variable type. To do that, let's click Browse for Types and search for List. We'll select the one under System.Generic. Since we want to store city names, we'll choose String as the type of the elements and select OK. Our second variable has the same type. Alright, now although our two lists are declared, they don't exist as objects yet. As a result, they need to be initialized and populated with values. For demo purposes, we'll have a look at how to do that in two different ways. Let's initialize and populate the Spain cities list in a single line. First, we will initialize the list by writing new list of string. Now the collection exists, but it's empty. So we'll specify the values that we want to append by adding from Madrid in caps, Valencia in lowercase, Barcelona in caps again. As for the second list, we will use the Add to Collection activity to populate it. But first, let's instantiate the object by writing new list of string as we did previously. Now let's say that we want to add two cities to the list. For this, we need to drag and drop two Add to Collection activities. In the Properties panel, we'll specify the collection in which we want to add a value, UK cities. The item that we want to add between quotation marks, London, and the type argument. The item type is a string in our case. And let's rename the activity for increased readability. Let's call it Add London to UK cities. We will perform the same steps for the second Add to Collection activity, but we will add another value this time. Let's enter Manchester in capitals. Great! Now the first list is populated with 3 values and the second one with 2. Next, we need to merge the two lists, so let's create a new variable to store all the city names. We'll name it All Cities and, of course, choose the appropriate type. Notice that the city names added into the lists are written randomly, some in uppercase and some in lowercase. So let's add an annotation to specify that. List of city names before format. This business scenario is frequently encountered. Think of the names stored from a web form. Some people write in proper case, others in all caps, and so on. Alright, back to merging the lists. So to do that, we can use enumerable.concat method. We can notice in the method signature that only parameters of the enumerable type are accepted, but our collections are lists. Consequently, to make this work, we need to add dot as enumerable after each one of them to convert the list items to enumerable types. Since that method returns an enumerable, we need to convert the result of the concat method back to a list. We can do that by using toList method. More specifically, we'll type .toList at the end. Great! Now let's rename the activity. To sort this list, we can use the Visual Basic sort method. But keep in mind that this method does not return any value, so we cannot use it in an assign activity. Instead, we can use the invoke method activity. Our target object is all cities, and the method name is sort. OK. Now we have an ordered list that contains all the city names, the ones in Spain and those in the United Kingdom. Moving on, we'll format them to start with a capital letter followed by lowercase ones. We need to store the values into another variable, all cities proper case. Don't forget that this variable needs to be initialized. In order to format it, we need to loop through each element of the all cities list, so we'll use a for each activity. Let's select the argument type, which is string in our case. At each iteration of the loop, every item will be processed using the string conversion method. This is the expression that we need. Next, each formatted item needs to be added to our new collection using an Add to Collection activity. Alright, let's display the values in the final list in a message box. To print all elements in a single message, we can use the string.join method. We need to specify the separator, let's go for a comma and a space, and indicate the collection that we want to print. All cities proper case. OK, now let's run it. As you can see, all the city names are arranged in alphabetical order and written in the proper case. And this concludes our video on working with lists. Thank you for watching.